What's good, everybody? Welcome to the MIZZES Best Reviews channel. As promised, let's welcome in our co-host James from the Watch Your Mouth Reviews channel. Link is in the description. Hi, welcome in, you guys and James. I am severely under the weather, really holding on to a hope and a prayer, but we are here and we're going to get through it. There wasn't much to talk about at all, in my opinion, but we will see if James feels any differently. But we're here to do Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. The episode was titled Beached Whale. And this was season. Oh Lord, I just realized I didn't catch the episode, but it's been too long. I got the name of it. Good enough. Let's just jump right into it, you guys. Everyone is welcome to comment. For those who are unsure, we do hope that you like the video. We do a lot of videos on James's channel as well. So I encourage everyone to subscribe to his channel. I also put the link to another creator's channel that we also collaborate with, Shayna, in the description box. I believe she recaps this show as well, but I can't remember, but her name is in the box, so subscribe. But we're going to get into it. So last we left these people, they were being pulled over by the Mexican police, and they made it a big deal. And I figured it was something small because I'm like, oh, thank you, Shandy. Because I'm like, y'all are on a bus that's probably registered, probably insured. I don't think these people were dumb enough because of the state that they came from to fly, illegal things internationally. So I figured it was something small, and it was just seatbelts. They literally told them, put on your seatbelts, and left it there. And they're like, oh, they had all these cops. Well, yeah, you're a bus full of people. Nobody knows what you got or what you got into their country. So yeah, they came. Better safe than sorry. Hell, what they expect, right? But wait, Shani said, yo, did you see how fast Sierra's husband whipped that seatbelt on? He is not trying to go back to jail.
I did come back on camera because I did see that.
He immediately put that on. Listen, ain't nothing wrong with it, because that's me. That is me.
That's me too.
I don't give a damn. I'm not going to jail for no fucking body other than myself. And even then, I don't find myself important enough to end up in jail. Nah, ain't nothing wrong with it. He does look well rested, and he got a haircut. I see you.
I appreciate that, Shani. I do, but I am not rested. I am so tired. Y'all just don't know.
All right, well, your black ain't cracking. You do look more rested than usual, but who knows? Maybe tiredness is just becoming part of your being. That happens to night shift people. Sorry, y'all. Moving it along, you guys. Rashida is talking, and she seems mad at Yandy for saying that Jasmine was looking for the frost. And while looking for the frost, she found them. Then Rashida throws shade by saying and questioning if Yandy's marriage is legal. Rashida is nobody's friend, y'all. I think that's clear as day. I'm gonna give my little take and then give James the opportunity to give his take. I don't really have much to say. All I have to say, Rashida, that is the pot calling the kettle. That's what I'm gonna say. Rashida really in her head believes that she's a celebrity and important and respected. She is a celebrity. She's gone from C to maybe D to C list, but she's definitely, you could tell that some of the fame has gotten to their head. And it's like, Rashida and Kirk, y'all help make this show relevant, not because you're likable, not because you're loyal, not because we enjoy you individually or separately. Y'all ended up making Love and Hip Hop because of how pathetic this marriage was. We done seen Kirk from hot tubs to hotels to secret apartments that was maxed as business offices. So I don't like how she feels comfortable to throw shade at Yandy's marriage. And mind y'all know how I feel about Yandy's marriage. I need to see the motherfucking marriage certificate, and I need to see the marriage license, and I need to see the date that it was stamped by the court. If I don't see any of that, then I don't believe it. And we've talked about Yandy MNDC's marriage on this channel, but I still don't feel like Rashida and them should do that. Because what if Yandy sees this and claps back at, well, you were groomed by him, so I expect you to act like this. Or Yandy could clap back and say, well, produce your marriage certificate so we could know the true age difference and how old you were when you got married. Is your mama's signature on there? Like Yandy Yandy can really come at her for that. I just feel like people who live in glass houses should not be throwing stones. And Rashida's house is not just glass, but it's that glass, you know, when somebody's trying to break a windshield or something and they're not strong enough, so the glass is hanging on, but one good hit and that's it. That's Rashida's marriage and house. So that's my little take on it. How'd you feel about those comments, James?
I felt like, how dare you? That's how I felt. I felt like, how dare you, ma'am? How dare you, of all people, sit up there and question anybody's marriage, status or not, or even the quality of someone's marriage, considering what your marriage is. I mean, let's not forget your storyline, whether if it's true or not, is that your husband has a whole nother child with a whole nother woman while he was married to you. Your husband literally cheated on you on national TV in a hot tub with Bambi and her girlfriends with Benzino and Bobby Valentino. So I don't want to hear from you, ma'am, because if Mandy sees is cheating, he shows keeping that under wraps. We have not seen it in public yet. If he is cheating.
True.
So I don't think you're the person that should be commenting on anybody's marriage. I think you should just shut your ass up and worry about your own marriage. And worry about what Kirk is doing still.
And in that order, as Mama D would say.
Right.
Rashida's comical. She's comical and she's a bad look for Geminis. It's okay to admit fault. It's okay to admit that your stuff not perfect, but it's almost like she want to be treated like royalty.
No, it's almost like she wants to throw the rock or pass the hot potato to Yandy because she don't want the heat on her because it's been on her all this time. So now that Yandy is in the picture and her marriage is showing flawed as well, she playing hot potato. You know that game we used to play as kids, hot potato? Yes, that's what she's playing with Yandy. And it's like, I'm between Rashida and Dr. Contessa and all you Gemini, weird June Gemini women, y'all are crazy.
Rashida's a May Gemini.
Is she?
So is Sierra. Most of this cast is. I think the only one that was June was Amy. But
makes sense.
Is she coming back? She must have met who she with now because we ain't seen her in forever. I know they on a couple strip, but hell. Let me get the comment. Shani said the Georgia prune. I still do not understand how she is so cool with Bambi when Bambi was in a hot tub half dressed with your husband because she's a clown. She's a clown.
Did you not see when on Instagram when her mama was sitting on Kirk's lap, she was sitting there talking about some it was like, no, get your ass up off my husband. But everybody playing Rashida face, so
everybody, and Rashida just swears she's a boss. If you are a boss, you don't usually announce it. Real bosses just move like bosses. They don't talk about it. It's a fact. Just saying. And the ones that do are the bosses such as, the orange man leading our country and his sidekick who makes them electric cars that don't work right. They want to announce how great and rich they are. And look what they done. Now they got the whole world in a pickle. So, yeah, the true bosses, true money, old money, humility, humble. It comes with it. Rashida and them ain't got that. She said, "Funk a rock, I would throw a boulder." Oh, well, Shani. We can't claim all Geminis. But you know what? Every sign has good people in it. Every sign has bad, messy people in it. Geminis.
I was just going to say, if I have to claim Drew Sidor, y'all got to claim Rashida and her, delusions.
No, she's a Gemini, but we don't claim her. Not all of us act that way. It's a good handful that act the fool. But it's the same way in every sign. I think with Geminis, because we're so analytical, we're also a mutable air sign. There's only 4 mutable signs in each earth, air, fire, water. And we also lead the chart. I feel like charisma, confidence sometimes comes off as cocky and wrong. And unless a Gemini work on themselves, people don't get it. And we get a lot of hate. However, every sign be doing some shit. All of us are equally crazy, in my opinion, personally. I'm not a big Candy fan, but she's a boss. She is, and she doesn't talk about it like Rashida. Boss chick, this and that. No, Candy is doing big things and literally working her ass off to achieve her dream of getting an EGOT. Her Broadway show with Denzel is doing so well. She has legit actors, all of that. She's a tourist. She ain't talking about how big of a boss she is. She's humble. Rashida is a joke. And I think she knows it, and that's why she stays on the show. Because once she leaves the show, she can't do much other than comment in documentaries about the 90s. But moving on, we get to the scene with the out of shape men in the gym acting like they working out. Now, they went to the gym. Clearly, that's included in their all-inclusive hotel, which I'm not mad at. I'm not mad at, but I was looking at these men. Ray Face talking about he never does legs. How you go to the gym and only work on one part of your body? That's weird to me. You never do legs, so you just working on your top and your bottom look weak. And then you got Young Jock in there. I don't Venmo believe that he really work out. He just wanted to be a part of it. Zane, he's like, oh, I do it all.
I'm sure you do.
I'm sure he does, but if you doing it all, why are you so lumpy at the belly? He looked like when he take his shirt off, he looked like Ving Rhames at the stomach and chest. I can't. I just cannot.
Just a oatmeal pie face in the stomach. I'm just looking at him like,
I don't understand it. And it'd be looking like he can't see, but maybe he's just really high. I don't know. But they're all in the gym and they discuss what was said in London about the room key with Carly because Ashley won't shut the fuck up and we have to keep talking about this. And Zane says that he regrets mentioning it because he never slept with Carly and his wife won't shut the fuck up. And I'm just like, I'm sick of Zane. I am so sick of little Zane. And he's really little. Mind you, I have a short husband. However, he don't act like this. There's short men that are impacted and insecure and act like Zane, Benzino, and then there's men that are shorter but confident that ain't gonna just act the fool. So it's annoying, but that's all I had to add on that. I'm gonna get a flow to James Jackson.
no, don't get a photo of me because you know how I feel about Lil Zane. You know how I feel about this whole herd of men. Just throw them all away, please, because this is just pathetic and just sad. But what I will say is that, at least they are bonding with each other as opposed to previous scenes. They were just kind of surrounded by the women all the time, and very
That's
few of
true.
them hung out. So it was actually really refreshing to see. But at the end of the day, I just can't take Lil Zane serious. I'm like, y'all get him off my screen, please.
Preach.
Yes, and
Mhm.
and I feel like Jock, stop coming on the show. Just do your radio show and just be done. I'm
Jock
so sick of
don't
him.
need this show no more.
I feel like I'm so sick of him and Kendra.
She also don't need the show, but I think Kendra wants to be a part of the cool girls popular party.
Because she
And she
gives me
don't
the
need to be
PK
here.
kid that wanted to be on the other side of the tracks, and this is her way of doing it.
Hmm. That's a good point. That's a good point. Now, Shani, I'm cracking up at your comment. She said, wasn't that thing 45 years ago? We'll get to it at the end. We sure will, because it damn near was. Now, after the men work out, we go back to Atlanta and we see Saucy Santana. He's meeting with his mama, who I don't know why I never caught her name, Adrian. He's got a beautiful mom, by the way. Just thought I'd point that out. She's aging gracefully. But Saucy says that he is no longer going to date violent men because we talked about it a little bit, but I didn't really want to go over it because I'm sick of Saucy. Here's the thing. There are people in domestic violence situations who are gay because he is a gay man. So I am not negating or ignoring women who are in domestic violence situations, which in my opinion is far worse because it's a scientific fact that men are stronger than women. So if you got a man just wailing his strength into you, you could get seriously injured. Same thing in a gay relationship, but they have a higher chance of defending themselves compared to a woman. So I don't want to negate what women go through, but Saucy is the gay man speaking on issues in the gay community that I think a lot more people need to speak on. I think the way he speaks about them is also graceful a little bit, just because a lot of people overlook and overshadow the fact that, like, in same-sex relationships, domestic violence can occur. It may not be as drastic in terms of like the risk of injury, but the risk of trauma emotionally or even death. You never know what somebody could do who you live with to you, it's high. And I appreciate Saucy for talking about that, because a lot of people, I don't think about that, especially the prejudiced people. They're just like, oh my gosh, why would they do that and this and that? But I appreciate him for opening up. However, don't sit here, Saucy, and say that you now done dating a violent man. I understand why you thought the person could love you, but we've seen how you moved with Zell. We've heard from your own mouth when you came on the show that you are pretty toxic as it relates to dating, and he gives me the energy of somebody who would hit a man as well. But now that he's been hit, that he's moved past it, he has an issue. I just want him to do better as it relates to relationships and be by himself for a while, if that makes sense. I don't want to always see him talk about these sad ass storylines. Now, I respect him for doing it, but Saucy Santana, as quiet as it's kept, the songs he puts out, fucking trash. But he's actually very talented and a very good writer, very good artist, a very good lyricist. But I just don't understand how much more he could talk about this issue. And I feel like, even though it's great that you can lean into your mom, Saucy, y'all were estranged for many years because of your sexuality. So I feel like it would be smarter for him to go and talk to a therapist that is specialized in dealing with the LGBTQ plus community. That's how I feel. Before I move on to the next part of what happened with him and his mom, I want to get James's opinion on him sharing his violence.
As somebody who was in a DV situation in my last relationship, I want to say that he was definitely on par with being aware and also noticing that it is a real issue. So I appreciate him speaking, because a lot of us are not given that platform to speak on those situations. I'm just going to say, just kind of an input, and then, because I don't want to be too long, is that a lot of gay men are angry about the fact that they are gay. And a lot of the times when they get in relationships, they take it out on the person they're in the relationship with, because to some allegiance, the other person is supposed to understand more than anybody, which is why they were chosen. That's the mindset that a lot of them have. And that is the most unfair and unrealistic thing you can ever put somebody through, because no, my situation and circumstance is different from a lot of gay men. I'm going to tell you guys why, because mine was a choice. I was never sexually repressed from women. I could easily go back if I wanted to. But the problem is that I enjoy, one, I love exactly who I'm with today and wouldn't change it for anything. And I think a lot of them are just unhappy because society tells them that how they live is wrong, and they don't know how to compartmentalize not caring and also knowing that what you're doing is what you're supposed to be doing. So don't allow someone to tell you that it's wrong, because no, it is not wrong. And then a lot of them put their hands on other men because they're taught to, because a lot of the times that's what happened to them when they were younger. So what you do and what you emulate is always what you were demonstrated with when you were a child. So therefore, we need to start having these conversations, and there need to be bigger platforms. I know a lot of people want to say LGBT plus community is all sensitive. They're sensitive for a reason. It's because a lot of them are not heard. So all of this awareness, some of it, I'm like, okay, we're going too far, but some of it is very necessary and needs to start happening. So I just wanted to put that out there. So I appreciate him for speaking on it, and I wish there was a bigger platform given so that it could be awareness, because everything has an explanation. It really does.
No, that is true. That is true. Bottom line, though, regardless of your sexual or gender identity, don't put your fucking hands on your spouse. It's not okay. It's just not okay. Really, it's not okay for us to put our hands on anybody. There's circumstances it happens, but your relationship should be your safe space. So don't put your hands on your spouse, whether you a girl, a boy, or something in between. Don't do it.
Agreed. Yeah, but it's more common. I hear stories. When I started talking about my story, girl, there was so many people that told me it is so common, and I'm like, that is crazy. And when they explained it to me, and I started putting two and two together, I said it makes sense, because my ex couldn't really be who he was outside of our four walls. He couldn't be that because he was taught it was wrong. So
that's an important point to bring up, because I remember in school learning about the statistics, taking all the stats classes they made me take.
Mm-hmm.
And when it comes to specifically same-sex relationships, yes, domestic violence is much lower compared to certain races in heterosexual relationships. However, it's also one of the most underreported crimes, kind of like sexual assault. So you can't fully trust the statistics on that, and more people experience it than we know, and some people are experiencing it and don't even understand that that's what they're experiencing. So I just want people to understand that it's very important to be good to whoever you interact with, especially those that you intend to love, because hot best express. Let me get the comments so we can keep it moving. um which comment did I not a serious big gut. She said, sorry, really not a saucy fan, so I had to fast forward. I don't blame you.
Me either.
Now, for entertainment purpose, I appreciate him for bringing the awareness, but it's hard for people to receive that message on a show like this. Does that make sense?
No, it makes perfect sense. It's exactly, what we need to be talking about, because initially this is what people are saying. When you're over the top, it diminishes the message of what you're saying. So a lot of people like Shani are fast forwarding kiss scenes, are not paying close enough attention because of the aestheticsness. It's kind of like Tamar Braxton. Tamar Braxton a lot of the times is has great messages, and a lot of times is correct. It's just her theatrics diminishes the message, so we tend not to pay attention.
Mm, that's a good point. That was a really good comparison. That's the truth. That's
Hmm.
the truth. And the way Saucy has acted publicly in general, it's hard to have full empathy. If you don't want somebody to put their hands on you, Saucy, please don't put your hands on other people or down them, because talking to your spouse, verbal abuse counts as domestic violence too. People just think it's physical, and it's not all that. But he moves on to talk to his mama about his dads. He has multiple dads. His actual father, his biological father, is in prison for life. Sounds like Saucy's not interested in getting to know him. The man is never getting out, so on and so forth, which is interesting. I say, your mama got issues with you being gay that caused y'all to be estranged, but she was okay to spread it wide and drop it low for somebody that did something so bad that they'll never see the light of day again. But okay, I digress. Um,
Ain't it the most hypocritical thing you ever
it's
heard in your life?
hypocritical.
Ain't that the most? That's what I'm saying. That's why I can't really. That's why I don't speak on the mother, because I can't. I just can't fathom my mom. I get that's his mother. You only get one mama, so I get that that's what it is. But I'm somebody where I'm like, when it's bullshit, and I'm just gonna refrain from talk, because I'm already going to be doing a show called Somebody's Son, and I'm about to go in on a whole bunch of mamas. So I'm just,
Yeah, it's one of those
Mhm.
things I don't like. Like, I like his mom being here, but then I don't. It seems like she's okay to be in his life, not because her beliefs have changed, because she's made it very clear her beliefs have not changed. And she's very into the church. And the Bible and church tells you that you're supposed to still love, other humans, love thy neighbor, all those things. But it also says that homosexuality is not something that is okay. And his mom still believes that, but it's still accepting it. It seems like giving him a pass because it's her son. And then she gives other people passes. So his mom seems wishy-washy to me, is why I'm saying that. But Saucy has a stepdad that his mother was married to for most of his childhood, it sounds like. And his stepdad raised him and treated him like he was his actual child. He said it didn't feel like it was a step parent. When his stepdad and his mom divorced, the stepdad abandoned the kids. But I don't think it counts as abandonment if you were raising the kids and dealing with them because you were married. Now, yes, ideally the right thing and the ethical thing to do, you have raised this kid, he calls you dad, like, you shouldn't just walk out on him. Because if that's the case, people who adopt to just be walking out on people. But at the same time, that man moved on with his life, has a new wife. Sounds like the new wife has kids and all of that. And It sounds like he hasn't spoken to his stepfather in many, many years. When mentioned, he runs away from the camera crying like an actual like baby. Like you could tell he was actually hurt. And I said, what the heck happened? Because he mentioned having to deal with sexual assault when coming up, SA. He also mentioned how the SA that he dealt with led to him being interested in men. He says he thinks he would have been, but you can't really know if you weren't SA'd, unfortunately. And that is also common that a lot of people in that community don't like to talk about. There's a lot of people who just know they're gay. That is the truth. And then there are a lot of people that lean toward that based on trauma that they've experienced. So, whatever the reason, Saucy is in a lot of pain. I don't trust the dynamic. I think it's strange that his mom is pushing him to talk to his dad. He runs off camera crying, but I don't like it. How do you feel about it?
I want not necessarily parents, but like family members in general, because usually, it's not often that you see that's the other parent, but it's more so like I hate when family wants you to make up with family members that have traumatized you in some way
Hmm.
and want you to be the bigger person and reach out to them or to try and make amends with them when at the end of the day, he's not the person who did it. So I don't
Hmm.
know why he has to make the initial step. If the father was that concerned, he would have made more of an effort and made sure he did the steps to change whatever it is that he did, because he obviously did something to his son to make him feel like that should have been the response when you mentioned any word of, speaking to his father.
Yeah, something happened. I
Yeah.
think it's looking at it from my professional opinion, I feel like he has abandonment issues from the situation, and then you couple that with his mom turning his back on him because of his sexuality. This man was married to his mom. So I'm curious to know the stepfather's beliefs and opinions and feelings on Saucy being gay. Because I feel like,
There's
birds
something,
of a
no, yeah, there's
feather.
something there. There is
Yeah.
absolutely something there. And
But I can't help but also feel like you're not his child. He did not legally adopt you. So once he's done with your mama, he can be done. I understand for him that was the only dad he knows. I get that. But this man did not adopt you. Do you know what I
I
mean?
just
Like,
feel like there's more to this story that mama is not saying.
mm-hmm.
And I feel like she's one of those toxic family members that want you to make up with, someone who could have, abused. I'm just saying. It just looks like that to me based on his response.
I mean,
Because,
the cousin that abused him
hmm,
in the essay form, the mama's still good with and all of that.
yeah,
So
yeah, someone else said that on another YouTube video, and I was like, so let me make sure I understand this correctly. How in the world are you supposed to be writing this book, or she wrote the book already, and doing all of this, and yet you're still in close proximity of the person that harmed your child?
because I think this woman is interacting with her child based on
Who
two
he
things:
became? Yeah.
environmental and who he became and what it can do for him,
Hmm.
for her, if that makes sense. Because Miami's a place, there's a lot of gay people running around Miami. So I'm like, it's weird to me to see someone from a city where that for years was known for a place for the gays to go to. It's weird to see someone from there that's like so against it. And I hate when people blame it on the church because they love to pay attention to the part of the Bible that says that, same sex relationships are wrong. That's why, the reproductive organs work that way. Whatever. We understand that, like, as it relates to just the natural history of things, that a woman should be with a man because that's how you get a baby, right? But in actual times today, it's just strange that a lot of people will pay attention to that and ignore the love thy neighbor verses
Well, no,
and does
it's
not
crazy
judge.
that people will pay attention to that and not consider that there's some men who can't fertilize and there's some women who can't produce. So, what do we say about those individuals?
That's true. That is true.
So, like,
But
I feel like, yeah, I feel that people take that context and kind of really don't look at the full dynamic of life. We're all supposed to be different. We're not all supposed to be the same. Because if that were the case, life would have better structure and we would all be at peace if we were all the same and understood each other. But
Well,
no.
his mom is basing her feelings on the Bible. That's why I make that statement. Not
Yeah,
about,
we
we
know
know
that.
that
Yeah, we
people are
know.
different, but his mom blames every issue she's had with his sexuality on her religion
Which is a cop out.
because it tells you to love your neighbor. So,
Well,
yes,
no,
it
it's not
tells
only
you.
that. It's just okay. So let's put some other things in perspective. Were you married to his actual biological father?
Probably not, Joe.
Exactly. So therefore, you're not obtaining everything in the Bible. If that
She goes against it in so many different ways.
Yes, and that's my
Um,
point. And that's my point. It says you can't pick and choose which corners of the Bible you want to abide by when it's convenient for you to do so. And a lot of y'all do, a lot of people in religion do that, where you don't follow every aspect of the Bible as you're supposed to if you want to throw it in people's faces about the choices or the natural being of their lives. Y'all pick and choose, but when it comes to your own life, y'all skip chapters and stuff like that because you're supposed to abide by everything, not just the things that you do.
I think that's actually my main reason for not going to church. Um,
Hmm.
I pray, I believe in God, I do, but I don't go to church or really any religious institution. I'm not going nowhere where you're gonna pray for me then ask me for $1 if I'm keeping it honest. Uh, just keeping it a buck. But the worst
Girl, I
people be
can't with
sitting in the
you.
church. It's true.
I
The worst
can't.
people be sitting in the church. Church is supposed to be a space of peace, a space of safety, a
Yes.
space of guidance. Don't ask me for no motherfucking dollar. And then now they got the audacity. I seen something on Instagram. The church got the little portable card reader and have people
Yeah.
charging their cards, and ain't no way in hell you gonna get this, maybe this quarters and these dollars at the bottom of my purse. You chose to put this here. We could really be outside on the grass. You could sing and pray and I'd be happy. I don't need the building.
Well,
So I'm
and
sick of the
then
building fund.
also, there's another consideration that most churches are already nonprofits. So,
And as someone who works for a nonprofit is nothing but a government code. 90% of the work they do is to get funding, meaning to get other people to pay them so that they could pay us who work for them. They are for profit. I looked up the nonprofit I work for recently. The CEO, his office is nearby mine. He's making almost 300,000 a year, but
mhm.
they refuse
But here's the
to put some
thing.
of that
What I
money
mean
into
by that is
clients.
that if you do things the right way, your church can be profitable where you don't have to, you know, ask for tithes and offerings. Like you have churches like I don't want to say any names, so I don't want to get your channel in trouble, but we have certain pastors who built banks and mortgage companies through their church to not pay taxes on the revenue of their money and become rich.
Yeah.
Also, where it's like that's why I said people who give to those churches, you're out of your mind when you do that.
I
Those
don't
churches,
understand. The mega churches be the ones that want the most money too.
yes, because they are fine. They have banks where profitable money goes to those organizations. That's how they're able to be on TV, have networks, and all this kind of stuff. It's because they build businesses that are tax free under the church. To if y'all didn't watch Greenleaf, I don't know where y'all were at, but they gave a prominent example of what that is like.
That's the truth. Yeah. Church is a business and people have to
Yes.
accept that. And I wish pastors would be honest and forthright. But we're going to move it forward because there's still a lot to go over from this stupid episode. The group was making a bow dancing. Cute Hispanic activity, but they're making a bow dancing. And Bambi and Ray Face come in. And she's annoyed because this man he horny. He needs to have sex. He's forward. He's drunk, which probably makes him want to have sex more and be more forward. I don't like when these Negroes get lit and then start getting awkwardly sexual. Like, that's weird. That's weird. Keep that energy when you sober too. Otherwise, leave me alone. But she gets irritated and he tries to apologize. His apology doesn't really go well. He reminded her that he could have hella women that he could sleep with First, he said the celibacy was for her. Then he said it was for him too. Then he said he chose this. I don't really want to comment on the drunk man, but the way he acted in this episode proved my point that I've been saying. I think this man only proposed to her because everyone was like, "Damn, she got engaged already." He can't wait no more. He needs that kitty cat. I don't know if there's. I feel like he might care for her, but I don't feel like they're truly in love. I just don't. I don't. That's what I'll say. Did you want to comment anything on that first scene with Ray coming for Bambi? Because he gonna do it some more.
I don't know how I feel. I watched the scene twice, and I don't know. It's something about him. I can't put my finger on it, and I need to observe him more. And I don't want to give him more camera time than he's allowed, but I need more in order for me to give an opinion because I don't know what I'm looking at.
Shani said, "Horny and drunk, just not a good combination."
I don't even think it's so much of him being drunk. I don't think, like you said, the awareness that I got at first was somebody who put a ring on to shut her up.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second part is when I watched it the second time, I'm seeing somebody who put a ring on it because he has ulterior motives that go beyond sex. I think there is kind of a stamina of being with somebody on TV like Bambi because she has continuous opportunities. I have not heard of this man. I don't know how he gets his money. So
I don't either. Yeah.
So I kind of feel like it looks like it's one of those situations. And it's not to say I don't trust Bambi, but it's something about her dynamic too, where it almost makes it look like you're doing this to throw it in Scrappy's face. So Zane could have had a point. It just came from the wrong person.
I can agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
She said, "Not a big Bambi fan, but stand your ground." That's right. No Mozzie Wazzy activity. I think she giving it to him. And honestly,
I don't know if she
I don't buy it.
I don't know. I think she maybe is then. So I just think that I don't know if she really is seeing this through the way she should, if that makes sense.
Yes. Yes, it does actually make sense because she's known as a bop. Okay. She's just known as a pass around. I'm sorry. She is. She's the smash the homie, smash. She done slept with all of Atlanta. So I could understand why she may want to be celibate. What you're saying makes sense. But at the same time, don't invite no nigga on no trip with you to a romantic place that's really for couples and parties and nothing else. And then expect him not to want no nookie after watching and hearing and having to participate. Honestly, their relationship was too new for this. I feel like when you say couples trip, I want established couples. I don't want to deal with nobody who's getting to know each other and may end up arguing because they don't like how this one snores or don't like how he didn't put the seat down. I don't want to deal with that if I'm on a couples trip. So I don't feel like they should have went, but they had to film them. So I guess,
Right.
You got to accept it and move it along. Now, Mendices goes and pulls Kirk aside to talk to him privately. And I'm like, oh, look, Mendices can talk this week. He's finally decided to man up and do something because it's your partner, your friend, who got his bitch acting a fool. And honestly, when it comes to Rashida, no one should even attempt to talk to her. She's always going to side with her man. The only person she might hear is Erica Dixon. I think they're actually friends. I feel like she could get through to her if she wanted to. But Rashida, even with Erica Dixon knocking on doors for her, she still went back to Kirk. So I'm just like, But Mendices talks to Kirk, and Kirk says that he trusts what Jasmine is saying. And into the confessional, Kirk's like, I mean, she's not making it up. You was at the bar. And Mendices makes a really good point. I was impressed with him for that. He's like, if that's the case, then why is Jasmine a liar when it comes to me and my shenanigans? But she's telling the truth when it comes to Mendices shenanigans, but she's lying when it comes to her and Kirk. Mendices brought up a good point. He brought up a really good point because Kirk literally told him, Jasmine said it, the side chick who slept with the man, knowing that the man was married publicly, allowed him to take care of her, had another man taking care of their son, can't even get the boy to school on time, and he's sending you all this money. sending you money for new transmissions and you driving a Tesla. Like, yes, Jasmine lies, but why is it, Kirk, that she lies when it comes to you, but with other stuff she's telling the truth? Kirk and Rashida, in my opinion, I have said this for the last few years that me and James have recapped this, they just so damn happy to not have a season full of scandal. They just so happy to have a season full of scandal. They are avoiding it. Get off the fucking show. Y'all don't show us nothing with your family. They were at least showing us they little fake ass businesses and restaurants with the bad reviews. They was showing us that and the kids, but then now they're not even showing that. So it's like, what? You go away. Go away. Kirk and Rashida are gaslighting this whole cast about this situation.
Mm-hmm. And I can't believe y'all gonna sit up here and make us defend Yandy of all people in Mendices. Really, Kirk and Rashida? Really?
Right.
Like, I got to defend Yandy lying ass and Mendices creepy ass? Really? I got to do that? That is absolutely insane. I never thought I would have to defend Yandy of all people. Because y'all know, here's the thing. I love Yandy. I do. I love her business acumen. I love her lifestyle. I think she does extremely well outside of Love and Hip Hop. In Love and Hip Hop, I can't stand her ass.
Yeah, that's true.
So I don't want to have to go that far to defend her because I know her and Mendice's marriage is some bullshit. I know it is. But I'm just feeling like now I have to defend the bullshit because that character doesn't make sense. Why would she not lie on Mendices the same way you claiming she lied on you? Because you know she's not lying on you. That's why you feel like she's not lying on Mendices. And instead of you just saying that, it would just blow up your spot, right? You don't want that. But I feel like Rashida not gonna give a fuck no way. So you can go ahead and blow up your spot because she let everybody play in her face. So what the hell is this going to do? I'm just saying, like when you really pull back the layers of that, if he actually said, "Oh yeah, me and Jasmine fucked last Tuesday," Rashida's not going to care.
That's the truth. If Rashida just don't want to look stupid, but
Yeah, she don't want to look stupid, and
leave.
She's so used to this man that the thought of not having him is devastating to her. That's why she stayed, and that's really what I think it is. I think the thought of not having Kirk would hurt her more than him doing what he doing and playing in her face and having it at home. I think she thinks she'll be more hurt if he wasn't there. I really do. I feel like that's how she feels.
You're probably right, because a lot of times people will stay in things that are not good for them because what's not good for them is familiar. And what's familiar, at least you know what to expect versus hoping for something good in a new relationship and then it potentially going bad. But that's where them fairy tales are good. Like, you could be the prettiest princess ever and you still might have to kiss a few frogs. It's just the way it goes. Get over it, Rashida. But I don't like Rashida. I don't like the way she moves. This bitch ain't shit. She ain't been whooped right. She doesn't advocate for women of domestic violence. She literally got a career off of us feeling sorry for her because she can't rap. Nobody was listening to her outside of high schoolers back when she did rap. She is stuck on this show, and it seems like the only thing that thrives is pressed. So sometimes the people who call themselves the biggest bosses and proclaim like they're happy and have the best life and are the most loyal friends are not. I think Rashida deep down is truly miserable, and I can't blame her. If I had to wake up to Kirk, I'd be mad as hell too at God. But she has a choice and she chooses to stay. So, oh well, bitch. That's how I feel. We see Saucy Santana meet with his mama again. Let me not skip your comment, Shani. I'm so sorry. She said the only thing they showed us was when them was making the bed, supposedly for Cannon. That was some bullshit. They was making the bed for the kid that lives there. All his kids are named after K. So yeah, they stupid because it don't take two to make a bed. Also, just saying.
Why wouldn't he already? And we said this back in there. Why wouldn't he already have a room at your house?
Rashida be full of it.
Like, why wouldn't he already have a space? Or if he has to share a room with the other little boy, why didn't he have like his own bunk bed or something? Like, y'all, Kirk and Rashida just be playing in people's face. They really do, knowing damn well this shit ain't real. But okay.
Yeah, they irritate me. Now, Saucy Santana and his mama, they meet at a restaurant for some reason to call his dad. Why couldn't y'all do this at his house? Like, what is going on? Like most scenes with a mama, let's take Shay Johnson. We see her at her mama house dropping the baby off all the time. We've seen Shay's family in her house. We've seen Scrappy in Mama D's house. We have seen people in their mama's houses. What's really going on with your mama, Saucy? Because why is she always
Well,
elsewhere?
first off, that's not really fair because Shay's family had money before loving hip hop. So I feel like that's kind of like not fair because we don't know what that mama had. We this look it is given she finally got her opportunity and she taking it. That's what it's given for
Listen, the
me.
same could be said for Mama D. The same could be said for her. Because Scrappy liked to play like he a real gangster, but his mama did some gangster shit to keep him out of it. And then he got a church daddy. So I mean,
That's usually
yes,
how
and
the dynamics goes, though.
yeah, so it's I don't think money is relevant regardless if you broke or poor, your mama should have a house. Love and Hip Hop Miami, we done seen people we know Amada lives with her mom. Some parents live with their kids, ain't nothing wrong with it in my opinion. If the kid is married, ain't nothing wrong with it in my opinion. But like I don't understand why we always see them in public. Like if that's your mom, bring her to your house. If you're not gonna show us her house, we never saw Erica Dixon's mama's house, but we saw
Yes, we
her
did.
around when
Yes, we did. We
we
saw
saw
Erica Dixon's
Erica's
mama's house in
house
season two.
in season
We
two.
go back and
Oh,
watch season. We showed did. We was shocked of what it looked like because we was hoping it wasn't her house, but it was absolutely her house. Yeah, you got to go back and rewatch, friend. We showed did see Mignon's house. We showed
I'm
did.
not rewatching. I am busy. I'm gonna just take your word
We'll
for
just
it.
take
I am
my
not
word
going
for
back
it.
to season two. Absolutely not. But
Just
I'm gonna
take my
take
word
your
for it,
word.
friend. We just see that lady. That lady house was broadcasted. Mona ought to be ashamed of herself for doing that too. I'm just gonna say that. But we showed did see Mignon's house. Yes, we
At
did.
least we saw her house, whether it was a shack or a mansion. We saw it. So I'm just like, I don't care. Just because your kids become rich, don't mean they owe you shit. That's
No,
just my
I'm saying,
opinion. So,
no.
Lord, but yeah, they basically he feels his stepdad abandoned him for the his new wife's children. Um, this should have been done in a controlled setting, not on camera. If it was on camera, there should have been a relationship expert, a life coach, somebody trained in problem solving and mediation. A lot of people, I'm gonna compare it to doctors. People who are doctors, you're not gonna tell them how to assess their patient. You're not going to really be able to tell them much outside of the bedside manner, which is how they treat you, how they care for you, things like that. Um, Same thing when it comes to people in what's viewed and called the social sciences, whether you sociologist, a therapist, case manager, uh, or just someone working in mental health, you are trained to help de-escalate. There's actual de-escalation training that we are required, because I do work in mental health, to do through the city, the state, and at the federal level. These people go to school for a reason. Allow them to mediate family things, because his mom clearly did not know what she was doing. It did work out, but I felt like his mom didn't know, because a professional would have cut Saucy off when talking to the dad and said, "You're getting all your feelings out, and that is good, but you also have to listen if you want to get to a solution." And the mom just was like, "Here, I'm gonna call him." And I'm like, "Oh, you could just call your ex-husband like that while he got a new one? Interesting. And y'all ain't had no kids together? Interesting." So I'm just looking at the mom like, okay. She just calls him and hands him the phone. And I just felt like they should have done it in a professional setting. Eventually, the stepfather did apologize. He was like, "Listen, I didn't have a father myself." And Saucy's like, "I don't care, this and that." And it's unfortunate because to Saucy, he recognizes this is his parental figure, but this is not your parental figure. This was your mother's husband. And that's why I feel, and I say it all the time, that people who don't have kids should not date people with kids. Because even if you're willing to accept them, you don't know if someone's truly accepting your kids unless they do what Eva Marcel's ex-husband Mike did. He adopted her daughter that she had outside of that marriage. He adopted that baby. So if a man who's a stepfather wants to be the true parental figure, he gonna figure out a way to do it. especially if the other dad is not around and Saucy's father's just sitting in prison, rotten for life. This man could have adopted him. He could have, but he chose not to. Probably so that if it went wrong, he could take a clean break. So
Yeah.
that's why I feel like Saucy needs to deal with this in a controlled therapeutic setting, because as quiet as it's kept, I know you got to know him, but that man don't owe you shit. That's not your daddy. So that's how I feel about the conversation. The man did apologize to Saucy, and Saucy accepted it, but was emotional. But it just made me want to question, like, why did you divorce him? Like, I need to know more about the divorce
I
with the
was gonna
mom.
say I need to know more the dynamic too. I felt like I was the
Not
only
like
person. I was
Ralph.
like, I need to know more because this don't seem right. It don't, something about it ain't right, and then it makes me feel like, because the way she was able to call him on par like that, like you said, it was like something just ain't right about this.
That there's something that's very off, and he has a whole new wife.
I need to
No
see the
kids
marriage
with her.
certificate.
Right.
I need to see the marriage certificate. That's the only way, because to me, this is given, and I'm sorry, I don't want to put this on his mama like this. I really don't. But I have to be honest. This is given, you were never married to this man. You was this man's slide. And he
Mm.
probably would come over and made it seem like he was like a parental figure when he was present, but he had somewhere else to go. That's what this looks like to me. This does not look like two people who are married and then you are embracing my children in a home and then we break apart, because I find it hard to believe that he wouldn't maintain, based on how he sounded. I find it hard to believe that he would not maintain a relationship if the dynamic was they were really married.
Yeah, it's a weird thing. But I
Mhm.
think Shani, that was a good that's why I left this comment up, kind of like Ralph. Ralph used to talk about adopting that baby with Drew, the her oldest Josiah. He decided not to. Now look at them. So
Right. And but here's the thing with Ralph though. I don't think it was necessarily a situation where he didn't want to do it. I think it was a situation where he didn't want to, because the other father was, I mean, he did come on camera at one time, but I feel like the other father wasn't like the total deadbeat that Drew made him out to be.
I don't think that the father I think the father was a deadbeat, honestly, but I think it's more telling. It's good that Ralph wanted to respect the dad, because you still have to give him respect, but
Right.
just based on how their relationship is, I think
I don't
Ralph
know.
knew that
For
eventually.
me, I can't trust Drew. So that's why I'm like, I don't know how Ralph is the bad example because he's still present in the little boy's life, even though they're going through this divorce. And I'm sure after they do move in separate quarters, he's still going to want to be a part of the oldest son's life. I'm pretty sure that that's going to be his dynamic. I don't get that same thing from this man. I don't.
Mhm.
I don't get that this was the same dynamic. I think that
It
this
seemed
was
like he apologized just to shut Saucy up,
right
honestly.
because he didn't want to tell on the mama.
But again, women understand this. Nobody owes your kids shit but you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the same thing for single fathers. You cannot go looking to date hoping to find a parental replacement for your child. That is not fair to the person that you were dating. They don't owe them that. Yes, if someone dates you, they have to accept and interact with your child, which it sounds like Saucy's stepdad did. He loved them. But if he not with you, the mama no more, and is not legally binded to the kid, then he has a right to not deal with them. It may seem fucked up. It may not be right emotionally, but legally, that man don't owe Saucy shit. So I want Saucy to get actual therapy so that he could work through this. He's got serious abandonment issues, and his mama just gonna make it worse.
She is,
Just
and
gonna
I
make it
feel like, yeah,
worse.
she was no help. I'm sorry, y'all. I don't want to down his mom. I really don't. But she wasn't of any help. She didn't make the circumstance better. She didn't make the circumstance to Saucy's benefit. She realistically made it worse. I honestly feel like she did.
She unlocked Pandora's box.
Yes, and at
Yeah.
his expense, because I felt like he didn't even need to go through this.
It's true. He could have moved it along, but she's trying to fix his choices for being with, violent men. And it's like, no, Saucy
No,
needs to
well,
go to therapy.
then, and this is the thing. Then you need to tell the truth about what he saw then, versus you trying to pity pat the situation and have them make amends. What did Saucy see that would allow him to then choose men that are violent? What did he see, ma'am? That's the real truth we need to know. Not the whole, oh, well, you need to talk to your stepfather and try to make amends.
Yeah.
No, what did he see in that household that would allow him to think, I'm going to choose men because this is the only demonstration that I had to why I think this is normal. What
He
did he see?
also learned how to put his hands on people,
On
probably
people.
watching
So
them.
yeah,
So
was that from looking at his stepfather to you, or was that looking at you to his stepfather?
it's craziness. It's just some things need to be talked about in therapy. Some things do not
Mhm.
need to be shown on television, and this is one of them. But
Yes.
without this, Saucy really don't have much of a storyline unless he gonna start working on an album. Again, he don't have much of a storyline. But we gonna move it forward. The couples are painting some hats, and I don't know why Sierra's man gonna paint "Suck It Slow" on the hat. Very strange, but okay. I don't think their relationship is that deep. It's clearly just sex, but all right. Um,
I think it's sex and that they're both familiar to each other.
that's all that is. You
I
exactly
do.
right.
I didn't, because he seemed ignorant as hell, and I'm just
He
like,
does. He
Sierra, really?
does.
Okay.
He does. Now, nothing really happens. Bambi's just sick of her man Ray Face again. Um, Basically, he admitted to being a player his whole life. Said a bunch of different things again. Bambi was kind of smiling while also not responding. I don't care. I have nothing. I don't feel well, y'all. I have not shit to say about that. I'm gonna let James comment.
I don't have nothing to say about it either because I don't even know what I'm looking at. As I told you in the previous scene, this didn't do any better. I still don't know what I'm looking at. And to me, I feel like this is one of the ways, this is one of the situations where I'm going to look at Bambi's side of ways because I'm sure you knew this before you got with this man. So, because you said you knew him for 10 years. So, I'm sure that him being a player was not solely hidden deep within his spirit. I'm sure this is something he showcased and demonstrated a lot when you were in his presence. So, I'm trying to figure out then what the hell, why would you then accept an engagement unless you like me, where you say yes and think about it later? Unless that's what she's doing.
Well,
Because
hell, at
that's
least you can admit it. A lot of people won't.
no,
That's
I'm
the problem.
somebody. Every time I've been proposed to, I've said yes, and then I thought about it later. Like, no, I have because I feel like they'll never ask me again if I say no, no matter how much. And I know that's very toxic. Please do not do that, people. Do not do that. If
No,
you do
that's
not
not
know,
toxic. That's realistic. If someone is embarrassed because they're vulnerable to say, marry me, and then you're like, nah, it's a
well, no,
realistic
because here's the thing.
expectation.
I, I'm somebody that will say yes on the whim of how I feel in that moment. And then I have to process what really happened. This is my engagement today is the only one that I have gotten where I didn't have to question a thing. I knew for sure that's who I wanted to be with for the rest of my life. I knew the moment I met him. So that's why I'm just like, I feel like she said yes to kind of wait it out to see what the rest of it's going to be like. And when you do it like that, you're going to get exactly what you're looking for.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a good point. I think a lot of people do that, and that's probably why the fucking divorce rate is so high. But
Yes.
as quiet as it's kept, they'll blame it on their partner. They put me through this. No, your discernment just took a pause for a moment. But move it on, y'all, because I ain't got nothing for them people. They're engaged now. I'm sure they're bumping uglies and getting busy and all of these things. But Bambi, if you're gonna present another man on TV, we need to know more about him. Zane, Ashley. Oh, let me not skip the damn comments. I am not feeling well, y'all. I feel cloudy brained, a little foggy. Bear with me and my apologies. Which comment did I miss? Here we go. Did Saucy get famous for talking about Beyonce's daughter? He did refer to Blue Ivy as nappy headed. That is an ignorant statement in the Black community. Natural hair wins all the time. As quiet as it's kept, y'all be so focused on not looking nappy headed, that the nappy headed people be the ones with hair. When y'all lift your wigs, there's nothing there. So, hey.
I never knew that's why he was famous. I always known him as the person that got shot in his ass.
No, he went viral. That was when he
Oh, okay. I never
first
knew why he
came.
was famous.
James is not the biggest, like, he's not a social media hoe. That's a compliment, James.
Thank
He
you.
lives in the moment. I can call him still and send a text. I don't communicate with him primarily through Instagram. He's a true 90s kid. Okay, let him be. And that's a good thing. But Saucy did, he went viral for that because no one really knew him outside of the Love and Hip Hop audience back then. But he went viral for referring to Blue Ivy as nappy headed. It was on the Shade Room, made the news. It was all this crazy stuff. And, you know, kids, they be nappy headed. Nothing wrong with it, but you're not supposed to speak on it like it's a bad thing. Especially when you got on a beard with contour and makeup, you look crazy. Stop talking about the baby. Lord. Shaped like a boxed linebacker. And you got something to say about a child. Doesn't matter if it's Beyonce's daughter. In my opinion, you don't fucking speak on children unless you speak into someone that's going to help them with their behavior issues. That's just me. But yeah, he did do that, Shani. He probably hoping we forget, but we ain't. She said, was I the only one cracking up with Sierra? Said she showed the producer the sex tape. She is funny. Sierra is funny. I don't mind her when she's happy in a relationship. When her relationships go wrong, then she gets unusually self-centered and extra. But I actually like Sierra better also with her not dealing with her toxic ass family. I just do. Congratulations to James on the engagement. It's a very exciting thing. It's a very exciting thing. She said, I just never heard of him before that statement or the show. There wasn't much. Like, he premiered on Love and Hip Hop Miami, but at the year that he premiered, there weren't really as many people watching Miami. It was kind of going down the hill, but he made a good comeback, and he definitely did well at coming at Beyonce, because Carrie Hilson said some stuff that was allegedly about Beyonce, and it ruined her whole career. So at least he, moved past it. She said, I hear that. Pick up the phone and call me, homie. People don't do that no more. And then when they do, they be so into their phones that they act like they don't know how to communicate when they're not, when they're in person and stuff. So, but Zayn, Ashley, Carly, and T-Lo, the joke of couples, one of them ain't together no more. They talk. I don't know why they did this while drunk. It's never good to have important conversations drunk. But Ashley was rude as hell, in my opinion. And it's like, if you want an apology, if you want someone to see your perspective, then maybe don't cut them off and get a nasty attitude. Maybe actually try to hear them out and speak to them in a way where they can hear you out. Ashley needs to grow the fuck up. She gets on my nerves. And honestly, Ashley starts mentioning this stuff about Carly asking if her and Zayn have threesomes. Carly is married at this time. So if this was single Carly, she probably might have wanted a threesome. But Carly right now is so far up this man. Okay, she's got surveillance. She's a PI. She's a sex therapist. She's recorded him in Gucci bags upside down. Okay, she is so busy surveillancing this man that I don't think she has time for Zayn. Also, Carly ain't gonna deal with you if you broke. Carly doesn't have a type. We've seen her date niggas that look like Jock to the man with the teeth last season. Okay? So I don't think I feel like Ashley is just trying to look for somebody to be mad at. Baby girl, the issue is with your husband, not with Carly. Carly does too much, yes. But I don't Venmo believe that Carly won't say. She might have back in the day, but she doesn't currently. Now, Ashley's doing too much, and Carly's like, I'm sick of hearing this, and pulls up the phone and shows the receipts of the text. It was a text from 2014. This was filmed in 2024. So you're going to complain and be mad that someone offered your husband a hotel key 10 years ago, and he didn't actually go to the room. You have the proof, Ashley, and you still mad. You just don't want to admit that you're wrong. But as a married woman that's been married more than 10 years, your issue ain't even with none of these women. Your issue's with your nigga. Because I've been with my nigga since 2009. It is 2025. And there's not a single fucking time that he done been out without me, traveling away from me, and things of that nature, and in hotel rooms for parties. He's gone to parties, but not in no motherfucking hotel room. Absolutely not. So I'm wondering, where were you and your antennas when your man was running around potentially getting hotel keys and stuff? Because Carly said, and I don't know how many people caught this. Carly said when she read the text, it's cool, bring your girl too. Ashley has confirmed that she was not there with Zane and didn't know about the hotel thing and wasn't there with him when that happened. So what girl was there with him? Because it wasn't Ashley. So Ashley, your problem is not with Carly. If you were smart, you befriend her so that you could see the rest of them texts, because it looked like there was some more of them. But instead, you want to be mad at this bitch who didn't do nothing with your little man, when you need to be wondering, wait, she said you could bring your girl too, and they have been seeing each other. That's the part of the story that makes sense. Who was the girl that he was with? Because it wasn't Ashley. I don't know. That's what I feel. Tilo looked annoyed. Before we move forward with the conversation, did you catch that, James?
I absolutely caught it. And the problem with her is I don't even think she's angry that it's Carly. I think she's angry because she can't confront a woman about Zane's activity because he doesn't keep that in open spaces. He's not, I don't think he's sloppy with his cheating. I don't. I think he's very crafty and very collectively smart, which is why he's able to get away with it and she's able to look stupid on TV. So for me, I feel like, ma'am, if it don't apply, then revoke and be gone. Because at the end of the day, that shit happened over a decade ago. We're in 2025. So what the hell does that matter now? Because you're still with him.
Right. It's stupid. And the issue, you're still with him, but you're separated.
Yeah.
And the reason you're separated is because he was doing too much talking to other women. You got an issue with some shit from 10 years ago when your niggas still talking to bitches and flirting today, right, in today's time.
And to me, you need to be paying more attention to that versus some shit that happened 10 years ago, potentially with another woman and Carly. You need to be looking at the whole situation of, why does he continue to do this? And why do I keep signing up and sticking around? Because as I told y'all, this is somebody who knows that he had a huge name back in his prime, and potentially getting back on this show, he can have some stamina of that again. And she's holding on for that reason. I don't care what nobody tells me. That is exactly why she's holding on, because it does not make sense. Look at how he looked today. He looks sloppy. He looked like he lived on a beach. And you mean to tell me that the way he treats you, that's fine, even though you're legally separated? That's fine to still be his wife and to still let him play in your face like that. But you worried about some shit that happened 10 years ago. It doesn't make sense, ma'am. And it makes sense when I just said it just now.
It's the truth. It is the truth. None of it makes sense. Let me catch the comments before we catch the last little scene of the show, because I'm a little late for the Beverly Hills Live. Carly right now is divorced. She's almost divorced. Her divorce is almost final. She's getting temporary spousal support of a lot of money right now. But she's pretty much divorced. Not surprised. None of her marriages will last. Ashley and Zane ain't really interesting. So she got, yep, you clocked it. But I also think coming at Carly for the purpose of this show, I think she's also trying to manipulate us into being focused on this and forget about the fool that he made of her in London. That's just what I feel.
He didn't even have to do that. She was always going to look like a fool, because their first season she looked like a fool. So that was him going to London didn't do anything for me. That she still looked that exact same way. As I told y'all, she reminded me of that girl Lil Fizz was dating season 1. This is who she reminds me of. That lady was hanging on to Lil Fizz because she thought that maybe he would get famous again. I feel like Ashley's the same way.
You're probably right. That's a good point. And she keeps proving you right episode after episode.
Yeah.
Now, she does eventually apologize to Carly Red and they leave. It was a half-assed apology, but I was glad she gave it, because Ashley, if you're going to come for somebody, bitch, you better be prepared just like a lawyer gets ready for court. I'm just saying. You could tell she had nothing else to say once the receipts came out. And when they leave, Zane talks shit because he's mad that Carly didn't apologize. What would Carly apologize for, Zane, when you are the reason that any of this is happening? Zane volunteered the information that Carly gave him a hotel key. She was caught off guard. Zane is the one who acted a fool and brought this up in front of other people so it would get back to Ashley. Zane is the one who brought everybody into this situation. So why are you expecting Carly to give your wife an apology? Your wife ain't getting shit. She needs a new wig, but she's not getting shit.
I would have been insulted.
I would have been insulted as well. Then Carly's mad, and which she has a right to be, and they're leaving. And Zane turns around. It's like, hey, Carly, that ain't cool, though. That ain't cool. That ain't cool, man. You just calling. If your girl is coming at me, calling me all types of nasty freaks and shit in front of my current husband, trying to say that I slept with you when I didn't, then yeah, I'm going to call her a stupid bitch when she getting an attitude with me and I ain't done nothing to her and she just talking about me. Ashley knew about this ahead of time. If it really bothered you that much, bitch, you should have called Carly when you were back in Atlanta.
No, if it really was a bother, because mind y'all, once again, this happened 10 years ago and she knew about the shit. So you could have came on the season confronting her about it, and maybe we would have had some interest because we didn't know you. We didn't know your dynamic. We didn't know about the baby mama situation. Then you could have added that on top of that to show that your man has a pattern of doing some fucked up shit. Then we may have been interested. But the fact that that's not how you came on and you now want to do this now that y'all have been on the show for 2 seasons, no, ma'am, I'm sorry. You forget about it.
She could have connected him to the rest of the cast to make his casting make sense. But
right.
She didn't. So I'm sick of it.
It's too late now. I don't really care because to me, once again, it's unbelievable to me. Like, even though Carly pulled out the text messages, until she did it in that moment, I didn't believe him or her.
I don't think nothing happened because she's showing the text and it don't look like much was said. But on the way out, Zane does tell T-Lo to check his bitch and tries to question Carly some more. And T-Lo had to check him. T-Lo looked a little scared, but he had to check him. Here's the thing. It's stupid. It's all very stupid. That's where the episode ends. All of these people are stupid. Carly, that girl is the same age as your daughter. I would have told her I ain't arguing with nobody I could have birthed. Now get the hell away from me and respect your elder. Carly, if you lean into your age, half of these people wouldn't even be able to say shit.
I'm trying to tell you, ain't nobody going to be arguing with no senior citizen. I'm telling you, we're not going to do it. It's just not going to happen because you somebody grandmama at the end of the day. So it's like, I'm not going to argue with you.
Yep, quite literally. If you got your AARP card, we have no beef. Do you? But that's it, y'all. That's the episode. We will be back again for some reason next week because they will not end this. I have been recapping this show since the new year started, and I am tired. I don't know why it's still on. It's against the law. APS won't do nothing more. I don't know when this will end, but we'll be back again next week. Hopefully, I'll be feeling better. Link is in the description to James's channel. We hope that you subscribe to his channel. We do shows there as well. Other than that, shout out to our replay gang, Thug Life, and we will see you guys on the next episode. Adios.
Bye-bye.